Hey guys, welcome to the afternoon drive. Happy Tuesday. It might be a few minutes. I might lose signal in the beginning here because this is usually the rockiest part of my trip here as far as signal. So if I lose you, just hang tight. Signal will get better in a minute or two. Hopefully it won't. Yeah, whenever I see the poor connection, I know it's going to take a second, so be patient. Yeah, I'm starting the afternoon drive a little early. Wait till I get a better connection here. So yeah, I know. It's because I have class tonight, so we're starting the stream a little earlier now for the afternoon drive. I'm going to try and get home and get situated. Oh, man. So I'll get home, get situated, and try and be on time for the 7 o'clock stream. Traffic's pretty crappy right now, so hopefully I'll be on time for the 7 o'clock stream tonight, folks. As I said, I have 2 classes tonight. Or no, actually I have 2 classes tonight. So I'll try and be on time for the 7 o'clock show. We'll kick back and have a few drinks and talk. So but I appreciate you joining me for the afternoon drive. Hopefully we'll have some of you folks on this evening as well. And I can probably shoot this one. There we go. There we go. Anyway, so let me see. How was your day going? Hopefully you got a good day going, and or a good evening, depending on where you're at, what time it is. But I will tell you, it was a quick day for me. I had basically 5 people in my class, and I got some of the work done. I worked mostly on my homework for tonight's classes. I didn't get a whole lot of it done. I tried, but boy, I tell you, just a lot of stuff to do today. This next week is kind of going to be balls to the wall for me because there's so much to do for these classes. It's tough, but I'm trying to get it all done. But it's a lot tougher than I thought. So today, because I haven't got a chance to really look at the news and watch. So there's something that's going on in the headlines that I haven't seen today. You know, we can talk about that tonight, or we convince me, your way is better than, any other way. I don't care. Of course, there's a lot of those that assume that I'm not atheist, so I'll do from 7 to 8 or 7 to 9, however long it goes based on how many people participate tonight. We were talking last week about, retrospect. Well, I'll tell you, there's some things that, you ever go through life sometimes and you seem oblivious to just other things? Let me tell you, I will tell you, one of the things that, for those of you that don't know or haven't been watching, more than 50% of my life, easy, has been married to the same woman, right? So, is that you couldn't really be with. She is the way better half of me. I mean, I could only any stretch of the imagination, truly the better half of our relationship. And she doesn't ask for a lot. She doesn't ask for, you know, money or fame or, you know, she's not that type of a person. But she's only asked me for one thing. And you know, it's kind of funny because I've taken it for granted over the years. And because to me personally, it wasn't ever an issue. It wasn't a big deal. And she's been asking more and more. And it's been less and less important to me because I just didn't see it as important. However, when you're with somebody who, you know, you have to kind of you have to be aware of what's important to them. And one of the things she's been asking for is, she says, you know, like right now, we've been down here in Florida for about 3 years, and we rent a place that's on the beach. You know, we've been in Georgia, we've rented a place there. We have consistently rented. Now, at one point, we had a house in Arizona, a big house, and, you know, lived there for 10 years before we moved, and we had that house built. And what I didn't realize, and, you know, to my chagrin, is sometimes as you get older, I guess, certain things are more important to women than to men, or basically maybe just more important to her than to me. But she has repeatedly asked me, she says, I want a house. I want a house of, you know, of our own. She wants a house that we own, that we bought. And that's never been an issue with me. That's never been important to me, because I'm like, why go through the hassle? Why do you need a house? We're fine where we are. We've got, you know, we have good rent, and we see the renting. I just never saw that as a bad thing. I mean, there's people all over the world, millions and millions of people rent homes every day. So but, you know, she's the smarter one in our relationship. She says, look, tax advantages, you know, there's reasons to own your home, but one of the biggest reasons for her is she wants to be able to feel comfortable in her own skin, in her own home. She doesn't want to worry about putting a nail in the wall. She doesn't want to worry about, if she doesn't like one type of carpet, pulling it out, putting in a different type. She wants to own the house, and she wants her own house. So, you know, I've been, over the weekend, I kind of started kind of reflecting on a lot of the things she's been saying, but I haven't been hearing. And that was the one thing that she, you know, she doesn't ask, she's never asked anything from me other than to be her husband, which at very best I have done been very mediocre at. I am by no stretch of the imagination the ideal husband. I'm just not. And I know that. I mean, there's so much more that I could do, that I wanted to do, that I haven't done. So the fact that she stays for 30 years with me and asks so very little, it starts to make me reflect and realize how really, truly blessed, how lucky I am to have this person in my life. And she's asking me for something that is the American dream for a lot of people. It's to have your own place. And while it wasn't that important to me, because I particularly didn't care whether I hung my hat in a rental or a home, you know, for 10 years we had our own house. It was just a house. I mean, it wasn't, you know, but looking back on it, yes, it was just a house, but it truly was a home. I mean, the things that she had done to make it nice, to me, it was a home. And I didn't see that back then as much as I do now. That, you know, my wife is older than I am by 12 years, and she's at that age where she wants home. She doesn't want a rental, she doesn't want a house. So now I've kind of found myself going back and thinking about all these things, you know, that she said, and all these, and I think to myself, wow, you know, how selfish have I been, you know, not acknowledging what's important to her. You know, we take, you know, sometimes maybe it's just me, but is it possible that other people have taken for granted or have been taken for granted by the people in their lives. I mean, I look at it and I think, I mean, I was one of those guys, but for the first 10 to 15 years of marriage, I mean, literally 10 or 15 years, I was a hopeless romantic. I loved surprising her. I loved doing things that she just didn't expect. I mean, I would go and I'd swing by her work so I could leave some balloons and a card in her car, you know, for birthdays or anniversaries, or I would send roses, or I was always the consummate, I was just, you know, it felt so good to surprise her, make her smile, make her laugh. So for good 15 years, I mean, my kids, you know, well into their teens, I was always doing, you know, she would come home from work, I would have dinner, you know, I'd like make sure the kids got fed, they went to their friend's house, and I'd have a steak dinner, you know, and I'd have the rose, I'd do the whole 9 yards, and that, which meant usually I had to take a half day off or get off early so I could come home and get all this stuff, and I would do all these things, and then one day, and I can almost pinpoint the exact day. As a matter of fact, it was I know exactly. It was 2000. It was 2000 because we actually bought and had our house built in 2001. But it was just before we had our new house built. She came home, and I had the flowers. I had the everything, and she came home and she said something, and she said. You know, she looked at the flowers and everything, and she says, "Why do you waste your money on flowers?" I said, "What?" She goes, "Why?" She goes, "Quit wasting money on flowers. They just die in a few days anyway. Put the money into something else. Do something else with it. Don't waste it on flowers." Wow. I mean, I was kind of disappointed because it wasn't thank you, it wasn't I appreciate it, there wasn't any smiles, you know, and all of a sudden, like from 2000 on, these things that I would do, they weren't appreciated as much, I guess is the way I look at it, is they weren't, you know, before I'd get a nice smile or a nice laugh. You don't gotta say thank you because I could tell just by body language and everything. You don't have to, I don't look for any type of recognition, just appreciation for the effort, you know, and it kind of started dwindling. So over the years, I've stopped doing that stuff because she's made it clear to me that those things are not important to her. That, you know, that she would say some women might like them, and they might, but for her, she doesn't need that kind of stuff. She would rather put the money to more practical use, and you know, and I respect that. That's just because I like doing them doesn't mean she has to enjoy receiving them. So I've kind of weaned that off, and I haven't. But I do believe that there's times where I look and I think, you know, has it been to where I have taken her for granted over the years and not listened to the things that do matter? You know, obviously the roses or the flowers or the, you know, taking her out to dinner and the movies and all these things, you know, maybe they're not appreciated now as much as they were when we were newlyweds or fresh, you know, or, you know, married. But to me, I do them not so much just for her, but I do them because they make me feel better. But I started thinking about all the things that she said, and have I been taking her for granted because I don't listen to these things that she says? I mean, she said, "I want a home, I want a house." She wants, you know, like we have cars, and she doesn't want a car payment. She wants, because before we've always paid our cars off and just, you know, well, now she's like, let's just pay the cars off. I'm the type of guy who says, "Hey, want to take a couple grand and we'll take a little vacation and go here, do this?" No, put that towards the car. Just pay the car off. Okay, well, I'm trying to do something nice and you want to pay the car off. So there's that personality. You know, we have a little bit of a personality difference in that respect. She's the mature one. I'm the childish, immature, juvenile one. And for years it's been working because, you know, she would accept the fact that I would just spontaneously do something, and, you know, she'd say, okay, well, and she'd come along for the ride because of how crazy sometimes I do things. But I look at it and I think she's put up with me for all these years. She's asked me for so little in return, you know, and given me so much, as you know, meaning, I don't mean monetarily or anything, I just mean she's, you know, I've been there for her, she's been there when I needed her. So, I mean, I don't know, it's just very hard to explain, because I start thinking maybe I've just been blind to what's been important to this, you know, to my wife. What is it? She's been telling me all along that she wants a home. She wants a place of her own. And I always looked at it and thought, well, here we are. We have this rental. It's a place of your own. You live here. But it was a different way. So I started thinking back of all the things. And now I have that guilty feeling going, have I just not seen? I mean, I've known all along that she was the mature one in the relationship. She was the one that kept me focused, my head on straight. You know, when I wanted to go into a million miles an hour in different directions, she would be the one that kind of would make me focus on what was important at that time. Many times I disagreed with her and did it my way, and many times I regretted doing it my way and not listening. So, you know, some people, you know, I used to say that she always thinks she's right. She thinks she's right about everything. Doesn't matter what it is. This is how my wife is. She just believes that her way is the best way, and she's right about everything, and she knows everything, and, you know, that's her mentality. It took me 30 years to realize she was right. She pretty much does know everything, and I was wrong most of the time. So that's, as hard as that is to admit, believe me, as a guy, being able to sit here and say it out loud to myself, because I think I'm alone in a truck, which I'm not, but, you know, to sit here and say it, that for 30 years, and I will say 90%, that might be an underestimate, but I'm going to say 90% of the time, she was right. I'll admit it. I mean, I've done things my way and found out that it just doesn't work my way. Most of the things don't work, and it's mostly for the reasons she would tell me why it's not going to work. So I kind of I walked into a lot of those traps on my own, because as guys, we have egos, right? We've got egos. We know you can't tell me what to do. I do what I want. I know you don't know nothing. You know, we just got these egos, the big chips on our shoulders that she's a fluffy woman and she don't know, and I'm the big shot guy and I make the money. You know, at least these are conversations I have in the back of my head, never out loud, but, you know, in my head, you know, that's kind of where I think those things. But the end result is, that was just my ego. That was just me, my pride, you know. You telling me what to do, woman? I'm the man of the house, you know. And then year 15, year 20, 25, you start going, oh, shit, she's right. I'm going to, you know, you just start realizing, and then you start really listening to the things she says. You can say to yourself she's wrong, but then you'll go ahead and you'll research it and find out that she was absolutely right. So I kind of laugh about that. I go, I'll still tell her to her face that she's wrong, but then behind the scenes I'm looking, you know, to see if she's right. And then when she's right, I got to eat crow and go, well, you know, you might be right, though. I started rethinking it. You may be right about that. And knowing full well she was right to begin with, you know. But, yeah, I don't know why guys are so headstrong. Why, you know, we have this ego. We got this chip on our shoulder. It's that pride that... But, you know, as you get older and hopefully wiser, you start realizing you don't need that anymore. That's not gonna do you any good. You know, it's not, you know, you have to be open. You've got to be open to new ideas, new everything. I mean, you can't just say my way or the highway. Now, that might work if you're Donald Trump, you know, but you can't do that in a relationship. You can't just say, this is how we're going to do it. I'm the boss. What I realized early on, I mean really early on, first couple years of being married, I'm not the boss. I'll never be the boss. I wasn't the boss then. I wasn't even the boss when I thought I was the boss in our relationship. It was never that way. It was just simply her allowing me to show how totally immature I really was in such a way that she didn't have to rub it in my face. I rubbed it in my own face. But then, as the relationship went on, and I didn't learn, she became more and more vocal in rubbing it in my face. So then, pretty soon, every mistake I made, she would rub it in my face because those stupid, stupid words, "I told you so," I hated those words. I mean, because she did tell me so, but I hated hearing it. And it was like a crushing blow to your ego and the pride and all that. But after a while, you wise up and you stop lying to yourself and say, look, this is a partnership. It truly is. And I have to learn to listen to her. I mean, as much as she listens, it's funny. I never understood it. She'll listen to me with 90%. Like if I give her advice on things, she will listen to 90% of what I say and do it. I mean, actually, so she has a lot more faith than me on certain things. But yet, I'm too stupid to have faith in her for other things. So it was really a tough way to look at things once I started realizing it. Like when she was dealing with people at work, or she was having a hard time, and I would sit and listen to her for hours as she would vent, and I would do things for her and help her with her, whether it was just rearranging offices, whether it was doing something that makes her job easier. And she was always receptive to it. She never once said, no, I'm going to do it my way. That's a dumb idea. She would listen, hear me out, and then implement, or we would work together and do what we were talking about. And she never gave me the blowback or the hard time that I ended up giving her. And so it was kind of funny. I had to learn that it was a partnership, and I had to learn to receive what she was saying just as much as she would receive what I was saying. And now it's really worked out well over the last, like I said, 30 years now. But I'm really starting to see more and more now that, yes, there is a problem. She wants a house. She wants things that I didn't listen to. And she's been saying it now for a long time, year after year, and I just haven't been hearing it. So now I'm finally starting to hear it, and I'm like, you want to do that. When you love somebody, when you really care for someone, you have to be able to know that, look, I would do anything to make this person happy. If you really care for people, you want them happy. You want them to be in a certain mind frame. And, there's times, I've said it before, I cannot imagine in my head what it would be like to wake up in the morning and not have her next to me. I can't even imagine not having her as part of my life. So it's very difficult for me to accept the fact that I haven't been listening all these years when she's asked me to do things that would make her happy. Because that's really, really what you want. When you're in a relationship, you want a relationship that makes your partner happy. When you're a parent, you want to make your kids happy. When you're a father, you want to make your wife your wife happy. When you're a husband, so all these things you want. How many times are we oblivious to it? How many times do we take our kids for granted? I mean, we tell them, take out the trash, or do your homework, or clean your room, and these are all things that are chores for the children and that. But how many times do we really tell our kids how much we appreciate them? And how, we go through it, we might think we do, but how many times do we really do it? And I've made a point now, over, I don't know how long, to make sure that I tell my kids how I feel, because I don't ever want to be hit by a bus one day and have them left wondering. But there are times where I've taken my kids for granted. I've taken my parents for granted. And I look back at all those times and I go, wow, how could I not see it? How could I be so blind to what was going on. You know, and then with my wife, she's just got the greatest attitude, the greatest, everything. I mean, she has her moments, like we all do. She has her moments where she will vent, she will gripe, groan, piss, moan, bitch, complain. She has those moments just like we all do. But even in all of that, it doesn't change the fact that I wouldn't trade it for anything. It's that ability to communicate that really kept us together for all these years. Because most people don't talk. They yell, they bitch, they scream at each other, but they don't listen. Somebody told me once that's why God gave you 2 ears and only 1 mouth, and so you can listen more than you talk. Good advice, But I will tell you, now that I'm paying more attention, I'm like, what can I do to be better? I mean, I want to be better because I look back and I think, well, I don't like who I've become. I don't really like who I am. I mean, as a person, I have put myself in such a position where I don't listen to what people are saying as much as I should. And it's not because I think I know everything. I joke about it, but it's not. It's just that after a certain point in time, you wonder, is change possible? I mean, is it possible to change your old ways? Somebody once told me that if you do one thing consistently for a period of 30 days, that same thing every day, same thing, consistently for 30 days, it will become a habit. And then you'll just do it out of habit. Now, if that's true, then I should be able to change a lot of the things that I don't like about myself. But I'm still not going to be able to make up for the fact that I wasn't listening when I should have been. And, I have to sit there and contend with year after year me just being me and not listening or hearing what was being said. So it's tough. I'll tell you. It really, when you start looking at yourself and you start realizing just how you've been sometimes towards people. I mean, there's times that I have been just terrible to some people that didn't deserve it, or even if they deserved it, there was no need for me to be that way, So hopefully I'll become a better person. I mean, my brother he says, well, he thinks I'm being too hard on myself, and I don't think so. I just think that I shouldn't care so much about what other people think. I shouldn't care too much about, doing what's popular. I should do what's right, and what's just. I mean, that's kind of what he was saying to me. Is like, look, don't worry about what anybody else says or what anybody else thinks. Follow you. You know what's right. And there's so much truth in that. We do know what's best. We do know what's right. But we get so tied up in the other side where we literally are, not even thinking of what's involved, with doing it the popular way. Well, we're going to do it this way because that's the way everybody does it. But that's not the way, it's not the best way, So anyway, guys, if you're going to be on tonight, hit me up about 7 o'clock, 7:15, 7, right now, plus or minus. I'll try and stay around 7 if I get out of class early. But yeah, share some thoughts with me. I'd be curious to see what your thoughts are. I mean, do you have people that you've kind of taken for granted, or maybe you feel that some other people don't appreciate you? I mean, there's times where I felt that way. I mean, I've done things that I never got a thank you for, and nobody ever acknowledged. And I used to get bent out of shape about that because nobody would say anything. And I was like, why do I bother? And then I realized, though, that's, if I'm looking to do these things just for recognition, that's the wrong reason. You should do things and just be anonymous and just do them just because, not because you're looking for notoriety or popularity. So, let's see if we can get up here. Okay, all right. So, I just want to make sure I was in the right lane, going the right speed. So I'll be pulling up. You know, I'll be pulling up to home probably about 10 minutes here, or 5 minutes, I should say. So tune in tonight if you can. POV America, 7 o'clock, right around 7 o'clock. I'm gonna have to get her a house now. I just don't know how. No idea how I'm going to get it, but I will. You know, we do the things we need to do for the ones we love, and if that's what's important to her, I need to make it important to me. Yeah. It's going to be tough. Oh, I was gonna say tonight. If you come on, if you guys are, if you're gonna come on the show tonight at 7, if you're gonna join me to chat a little bit, do me a favor. One of you folks, just somebody that's watching, do me a favor and de-virginize me. Would you do that? If you got some bits that maybe you watched a commercial and you got a few bits, just toss me 1 bit or 2 bits, just a couple of the bits that you get from watching your commercials, or if you have some extra. I want to make sure that I'm actually working and that my, you know, I can test it all I want, but I want to actually see the whole flow of how tips and bits work. I want to see them during the stream, see if my stuff comes up where it should, when it should. So I haven't accepted any bits, I haven't accepted any tips or anything yet, but I'm going to go ahead and make sure everything's going tonight. So if you get a chance, stop by. And if you have any bits, toss me some bits, or put a $1 donation on there if you can. Whatever you can do. I just want to make sure and see how things are working. So if you catch me at around 7 o'clock online, you know, I'd appreciate that. Just de-virginize me. You can de-virginize me with bits, or you can de-virginize me with a tip, or both, whatever makes you happy. But somebody has to be the first one. And I'm hoping that it'll be someone that, you know, is watching during the, you know, the afternoon streams. I would appreciate it. Yeah, I don't know. I think that'd be cool. So, I will definitely say, let's see, we'll do the, yeah, see, I don't know. That's really what I want to know, though. Before I don't even want to go past that, I want to think how many people, I really want to know how many of you guys have people in your lives, whether it's your brother, mother, sister, cousin, dad, you know, uncle, you know, how many people have people in their lives that literally they have taken for granted, or how many people in your life have you done things that are above and beyond the call? And how many times have they taken you for granted, and you still keep being there for them as an emotional punching bag or whatever the case may be? I mean, I'm curious. I want to know. I mean, I think sometimes I think I'm the only person that, you know, takes people for granted, and I know I can't be. There's got to be other people that can admit to the fact that they don't treat people the way that they probably should. And in my family, I can tell you, beyond any shadow of a doubt, they're treated with absolute disrespect. Yeah, disrespect. The people I treat disrespectful, guess it's, I don't know. I guess I'm just trying to say I take it for granted. I don't know how to say it. This makes me feel fucking pissed because I know I do it, and now that I'm aware of it, I think it bothers me even more because there has been times where I think other people take me for granted, and like I gave you the example back in 2000, I felt that I was being taken for granted, but now that I see the way I've been, it's kind of easy for me to go, wow. I mean, now I can see that I've been doing it all along. So, I don't know, we'll see. Relationships are tricky. I mean, I'm lucky to be 30 years. I used to joke all the time at 10. Married for my first 10 years, and people would say, oh my God, you guys have been married 10 years? Like, that was a big accomplishment. And then it was like 15 years. Oh my God, 15 years? You've been married for 15 years? Like, yeah, 15. Then we hit that 20 mark, and it was just like, wow, 20? Really? You guys have been married 20 years? Whew, wow, 20 years, you sure? Yeah. Now, I say we've been married 30 years, and you get that, oh my God! You've been married to the same woman for 30 years? All at once? Or did you break up and divorce? And then, no, we've been together. Wow, are you that? Then all of a sudden they go, well, that's terrific. Wow, congratulations. It goes from total disbelief, shock, and awe to like, oh, well, man, congratulations. That is great. I'm so happy for you. A second ago, you were shitting yourself because you couldn't believe it, and now you're saying you're so happy for me. So yeah, I mean, it is kind of a weird thing, but I don't know. I just don't think it's a big deal. My wife and I talk all the time, and I'll ask her, and I'm trying to coax her into doing the stream with me, the evening streams. But I'll ask her sometimes. I'll say, hey, does it seem like we've been married 30 years? And she will openly say, no, not at all. It seems like it's been that quick. It doesn't seem like it's been 30 years. And not to her, not to me. And, that some people say, well, that's a bad sign. Some people say it's a good sign. I happen to think it's a good sign. I mean, it's like, look, we don't feel that we have fallen into that grind. And, oh, yeah, you log in when you log in, you log out when you log out, and we know the routine. You do this, you do that. We don't feel like we've fallen into that rut. Where we know everything each other does. That's not us. We literally appreciate each other. We literally have spent 30 years together because we accept each other's little idiosyncrasies, I mean, like Saturday, I told you guys I wanted to play in a poker game on Saturday. I got up. I said, hey, I'm going to go play this poker tournament, and I want to go play. And I always ask, do you want to go? You want to go? She said, no, you go. Have fun. Good luck. Cool. All right, and I did. I went and had a great time, great luck. But she absolutely never, if I want to go do something and she doesn't want to go, she never said, well, you can't go because I'm not going. Or you're not going to go do that. It's like, you know what? Have at it. Go enjoy yourself. I'm going to stay here and do my genealogy research or whatever she does. But she's never been anything less than my best friend when I have said, these are the things I want to do. She's right there with me for everything. And I try to be there, for the most part of everything that she needs me for. But I still see there's some big areas where I was not seeing the signs, not hearing what was being said. So yeah, relationships are tricky. I understand that. I understand that not everybody goes 30 years. Some of them are lucky to go 30 months, you know. But it's easy. It's really not hard. You know, if you communicate, if you don't communicate, it's going to be tough. It's going to be hard. Guys, I'm almost home. I'm coming up to the street where I usually turn at. I'm going to give you my shameless plug. Follow me if you can. I love it, you know, when I got people that I know are kind of watching. And I do appreciate you, every last one of you guys that subscribe or follow my channel. You don't know what it means to me, because I'm trying to build up the followers and the subscribers I need for Twitch and for YouTube. So even if you just hung with me for the drive home for 5 minutes and then tuned off or whatever, please follow me on Twitch, and you know, kind of gives me that encouragement, I know, to keep it open. I mean, a lot of the drives here, because I can't interact with you, I'm just trying to basically talk out loud and you know, put some thoughts out there in the ether that hopefully will come back in the evening and say, remember when you were talking about this on the drive home? Well, this is what happened to me. You know, just something like that. Means the world to me. I mean, that's awesome. And you guys are truly, I've got the greatest group of folks that are following me now and that are part of my, you know, little clique that are watching on a regular basis, and I love you guys for that. So please follow me, subscribe if you can. I have the Patreon. You can always go to Patreon and you know, support me there, become a patron. And I'm going to get the stream up and going more and more each day to where we, you know, start to gel and, you know, get some form to it. So in any event, I will tell you guys, have a great rest of the day, and I'll see you tonight at 7 o'clock if you can make it. And I look forward to seeing you then, man. Have a great evening.